The Magnetic Boy. You may have heard of the Magnetic Boy before. He's a 6-year-old kid from Croatia who attracted a lot of media attention a few years ago for apparently being a miniature Magneto. Metal objects like forks and spoons stuck to his body. Ivan is his name, and his family claimed that he was magnetic. However, this story has kind of a hilarious twist. Ivan the Magnetic Boy never actually developed special abilities. It turned out in the end that Ivan was actually just sticky. According to a recent report from Live Science, some professionals got together and debunked the Magnetic Boy. They said that first of all, one of the photos shows Ivan with a plastic remote control stuck to his chest. Considering remote controls are plastic and not metal, that right there says a lot. The experts are saying that because young Ivan has smooth skin without any hair, he probably just has really sticky skin. And this is obviously not a superpower or a special ability. Some people just have sticky skin. All people have a little bit of stickiness going on with their skin, but some people are extra sticky. At the end of the day, the Magnetic Boy isn't as special as everyone thought, he just has really slimy skin. The Man Who Ate an Airplane. This next one is a little strange. Is it a superpower to eat an entire airplane? Some might say yes, some might say no. But a man named Michel Lotito believed himself extraordinary for the simple triumph of eating an entire airplane, among other things. He didn't eat the aircraft all at once, of course. It took him 2 years to finish it. But he did eat an entire Cessna 150 airplane piece by piece. He also ate 18 bicycles, 7 TVs, 2 beds, 15 supermarket shopping carts, a computer, a coffin, 6 chandeliers, and even a pair of skis. So is he superhuman or just super insane? According to Ripley's Believe It or Not, it's all about the digestive system. Doctors determined long ago that Mr. Lotito had an extremely resilient digestive system with an extra thick stomach lining and intestines. The result was that he was able to eat pretty much anything. While definitely not the most useful superpower, it is still pretty amazing. Unfortunately, the man who ate a plane passed away of natural causes back in 2007 at the ripe old age of 57. Sudden Artist. To be quite honest, most spectacular abilities involve a malfunction with the brain and a sudden ability to create. Whether it be art or music, a stroke or a coma, 99% of the people on Earth who develop superpowers do so after a brain injury, and their superpower is usually something artistic. Take John Sarkin, for example. He had been working as a chiropractor when he suffered a horrible stroke. This happened at only 35 years old, but after his stroke, John turned into a visual artist with an insatiable need to create. After his stroke, he couldn't stop making beautiful and incredible art. But how could a stroke turn John into an artist? Apparently, the left side of John's brain was extremely deprived of oxygen during his stroke. Because of this, John was forced to rely more on the other side of his brain. It meant that he had to interact with his world differently. Because he now saw the world in a different light and interpreted the people and things around him differently, he essentially turned into an artist, and that's really what's going on with these types of post-accident creatives. Electric piano. Could you imagine getting struck by lightning? Meet Tony Sosoria, who had been minding his own business at a phone booth back in 1994 when a lightning bolt came out of nowhere and struck him in the head. This is an incredibly rare thing to happen, and miraculously, he survived the incident without any more than a few burns on his face and foot. But what's really incredible is that ever since Tony was hit by the lightning, he's had melodies stuck in his head. He became obsessed with the desire to listen to piano music. The problem for Tony was that he couldn't play any instruments. Tony was a doctor at the time he was struck by lightning, specializing in orthopedic medicine. He was barely 42 years old and knew nothing about music, but that didn't stop Tony from chasing his new impulses. Within a few months of being struck by lightning, Tony was spending almost all of his time playing and composing music on the piano. Then in 2007, Tony debuted his first piano composition in Connecticut. That was 13 years after he was struck by lightning. The electricity from the sky literally turned Tony into a magic man on the piano. While it might not be as great a superpower as flying or teleporting, it's definitely pretty cool. You can even watch Tony playing his lightning sonata on the piano. It's the same melody he's heard in his head ever since the bolt of lightning crashed down on him. If you could have any superhuman ability, what would you wish for? Music? Super hearing? Telling the future? Anything? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Human Jukebox. Let's keep it moving with another musical power. A man named Derek is known as the Human Jukebox. This is because unlike most pianists who need to read music to play it, Derek only needs to hear the song once to replay the entire thing perfectly. Derek is also known as a savant. This means that he's mentally impaired, and yet he is gifted with other special abilities that exceed the average person's talents. It's like if you could just pick up a guitar and play any song you heard on the radio just by hearing it once, but you'd have to sacrifice something else in order to do it. So where did Derek get this amazing power? Well, it all began 15 weeks before he was supposed to be born. He was very premature and came out into the world blind and autistic. He couldn't read or communicate properly, but somehow he was able to use music as a form of communication. He actually started playing the piano at only 2 years old on a toy organ. By the age of 4, he was playing the piano on his elbows and on the backs of his hands, and he was playing some pretty complex pieces. When he got older, Derek attended the Linden Lodge School of the Blind in London. Now he spends most of his time playing the piano, composing and improvising music, and hanging out with family and friends. And no, scientists have no idea how he's able to memorize and then mimic any piece of piano music. Most professionals believe that since Derek is a savant, his brain became hypersensitive to compensate for the damaged parts, and this heightened his auditory abilities. The First Cyborg. A man named Neil Harbison is the world's first legal cyborg. That's right, this guy is literally part human and part robot. He has an antenna implanted in his skull that gives him a very special ability. Maybe not special to you or I, but special to him. You see, Neil was diagnosed as being completely colorblind. The antenna installed inside of his brain gives him the ability to see color, and the most amazing part about it is that Neil developed this technology himself. Neil worked with another computer scientist to develop something that they called the iBorg. It's an antenna attached to a very small computer and a pair of headphones. Then at the end of the antenna is a webcam that translates color into 360 different waves of sound that Neil listens to through his headphones, allowing him to understand which colors he's looking at. Although this might sound like something from a weird science fiction movie in the future, it's happening right now. Neil literally has an extra sense that nobody else has. According to a report from CNN, it took Neil a full 5 weeks to get over the headaches that he was getting from listening to so many new colors. It then took him another 5 months to be able to decipher which frequencies belong to which colors. It's a pretty impressive technology, and it apparently turned going to a supermarket into visiting a nightclub because of all the sound frequencies being transmitted into his brain. What's really interesting is that after installing the cyborg apparatus into his brain, Neil said that his concept of race changed. According to the sounds that he hears, black people aren't actually black, but they appear as very dark orange to him, and people who are white appear as extremely light orange. It's totally bizarre and absolutely fascinating. The Deaf Composer. Almost everybody knows who Beethoven is, but what a lot of people don't know is that Ludwig van Beethoven, the legendary composer that created some of the most beautiful music in the universe, was deaf. Not only that, but he went deaf halfway through his career. While some people see Beethoven's triumph over his lack of hearing as an example of determination, others say that going deaf actually heightened his ability to compose music. Of course, Beethoven didn't go deaf overnight. It was a gradual process that went on and on throughout his career, but as he grew older, his music began to sound a little different. That's because he could not rely on his ears anymore. Beethoven actually composed much of his music later in life solely on vibration, and this enabled him to create a completely unique sound that has yet to be replicated. It just goes to show that our senses are more powerful than most of us give them credit for. Indestructible Bones. There is a family out there with bones so strong they simply won't break. The DNA of an extended family in Connecticut has been sampled and analyzed by genetic specialists from the Yale Bone Center in an attempt to understand how genetic mutation can cause high bone density. This is something of an anomaly in human genetics. Members of this single family have bones so strong that they have been compared to the hero played by Bruce Willis in the movie Unbreakable. They have extraordinarily dense bones, making them the most indestructible people on the planet. Unfortunately, we don't know much about these people. 20 members of the family gave blood samples to be DNA tested, and all of them had their bone density measured. 9 members of the family had normal bone density, but the other 11 were superhuman. What makes this really incredible is obviously if scientists can figure out how to locate and isolate the gene mutation, we could be looking at people in the future with unbreakable bones. And if you ask me, that is a legit superpower. Nobody would need to be scared of skateboards or rollerblades anymore. Of course, it's unlikely that the family members develop their strong bones somewhere in life. It's more likely that one of their ancestors was born with a genetic mutation hundreds or even thousands of years ago, and it's slowly been carried forward through descendants. Super memory. How would you like to be one of only 80 people to remember every detail of every second of your life? It might be more trouble than it's worth. A woman named Rebecca has been diagnosed with something known as highly superior autobiographical memory, and it is a very real superpower. This condition prevents people from being able to forget, and like I already said, less than 100 people in the world have it. This power doesn't relate only to events either. Rebecca can remember dreams she had when she was only 18 months old, and she can even remember being photographed only 12 days after her birth. Even more bizarre, Rebecca can recite the entire collection of Harry Potter books. Scientists are unsure what causes this incredibly rare condition. However, some professionals do believe that human beings never truly forget anything, we just have trouble bringing it to the surface. But that does not explain why Rebecca and the others like her are able to develop such unbelievable memories. We may never unlock the secret to this power. The Iceman. Wim Hof, also known as the Iceman, is the closest thing on Earth to a person with superhuman abilities, and no, he was not born special. He gained his powers through raw determination. That's right, Wim Hof conquered the world using nothing but his own commitment and a special breathing practice. It's no joke either, he has set some serious world records. According to Guinness World Records, Hof has swum the furthest under ice, going a full 188.6 feet, but that's nothing. He has a world record for the fastest half marathon ran barefoot on ice and snow. He has the longest record for being in full contact with ice, over 1 hour and 42 minutes. He also climbed to 23,600 feet on Mount Everest wearing nothing but shorts and shoes. That really puts the hardcore climbers and all their fancy gear to shame. So what allows this guy to run up the side of Mount Everest in shorts and sneakers while other people are wrapped up like Eskimos? Was he born with some kind of special skin that nobody else has? No. He's just a normal guy who has gained the ability to focus his mind and his breathing to essentially make him impervious to fatigue or cold. And what makes Wim Hof's story extra special is that anyone can become super enough to climb a mountain in their shorts if they just put their mind to it. Focus, determination, and patience are the key to becoming superhuman. Which of these superpowers would you prefer to have? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching. Stop by again for another great video, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.